Well, welcome back, everybody. You know, before we can properly assess what the reality is that we are actually living in, we have to accept the fact that we do live in a sort of simulation. It's just not as mystical as you all think it is, and as it might be, suggested to you or perhaps portrayed. In fact, it's so very, very practical. It's right in front of your face, too. And this is where people get really upset because it makes you feel stupid when you finally do see it for not seeing it before, because the reality in which we live in, we actually are guilty for allowing it to exist, because we do it through our blind participation in things that are an absolute contradiction to everything, well, we thought we were. But once your eyes open, I promise you, you won't unsee it.
Iraq, which had nothing to do with 9/11. And there was no Al-Qaeda in Iraq under Saddam, by the way. Now we got ISIS, Al-Qaeda, what? By way of deception, thou shalt do war? ISIS. What does that really stand for? Israeli Secret Intelligence Services.
I was getting this question in the 1990s, and I said that the West really doesn't understand militant Islam. So I wrote a book in 1995, and I said that if the West doesn't wake up to the suicidal nature of militant Islam, the next thing you'll see is the militant Islam is bringing down the World Trade Center.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. On September the 11th, enemies of freedom committed an act of war against our country. Americans have known wars, but for the past 136 years, they have been wars on foreign soil.
When you spend a few decades fighting for human and civil rights against these political regimes, things become commonplace, almost even expected. So after watching these things unfold, naturally, you can expect that the narrative will start and the media will align, because nothing says war like your support.
Dancing Israelis were 5 men perched from an advantageous position in clear view of both towers, dancing, posing, and celebrating with a camera.
In the days after the September attacks, there were countless rumors about strange coincidences surrounding the events. One report about a group of Middle Eastern men spotted the morning of September 11th parked just across the river from New York City has not gone away. Investigation of their presence has led to questions about whether Israel was conducting espionage on U.S. soil.
Well, it did take a little bit of time, but in the end, as it turns out, the 5 dancing Israelis certainly were agents of Israeli intelligence.
We were told we were fighting terrorists. The real terrorist was me, and the real terrorism is this occupation. Racism within the military has long been an important tool to justify the destruction and occupation of another country.
Sound familiar?
It has long been used to justify the killing, subjugation, and torture of another people. Racism is a vital weapon employed by this government. It is a more important weapon than a rifle, a tank, a bomber, or a battleship. It is more destructive than an artillery shell, or a bunker buster, or a Tomahawk missile.
So it's extremely important for everybody to understand how we got to this place on Earth throughout all our cultures and, all our different faiths. How did we get here? What is the root of the problem? How are people indoctrinated in the first place? How can it maintain for so long that it becomes systemic? Systemic to the point where people as a whole can be blood libeled for the disgusting things that some people within their own groups might do. Like, for instance, right now everybody is blaming all of the Jews for the actions of the state of Israel because they've been conditioned to believe that there's no difference between Israel and the Jewish people. But there certainly is. Israel is a state, not a people. It is a modern state. It has nothing to do with the Bible. It acts in complete contradiction to all of the laws, guidelines of all of the Abrahamic faiths. It is genociding and killing in the name of God. There's nothing Jewish about that. Pay attention. This is extremely important to understand.
As Jews, many of us of Israeli origin, many of us descendant from Holocaust survivors, we feel a particular sense of responsibility to stand up against the reprehensible crimes being perpetrated in our name by the state of Israel. Yet we say not in our names, not just as Jews, but also as Canadians, on account of Canada's deep complicity with Israel's crimes. This complicity comes in many forms, from the arms trade to the suppression of speech on Palestine through false accusations of anti-Semitism, for example. It also comes through taxpayer-subsidized charitable donations to Israeli organizations, several of whom are directly and deeply implicated in Israeli war crimes. Through one organization, just one of these, Mizrahi Canada, Canadians can donate to radical settler group Women in Green, which has an ongoing fundraising campaign entitled Demolish, Enter, Remain in Gaza. They can donate to Im Tirtzu, which publicly brags about participating in blockading aid trucks getting into Gaza, which could be Canadian aid as well.
We were killing people. I mean, we were killing innocent people. It was a free-for-all. There was no media there. There's no one to look after you. And the Marines took it upon themselves to shoot at, beat, rob, rape, kill whoever they wanted to. 1 million Iraqis dead.
We invaded them. But it doesn't just stop there. It gets even worse. Because as the entire West is being taught from everywhere they look and turn that, you know, the Arab world are full of Muslim terrorists and barbarians that want to behead and kill and maim and all of this nonsense. And then you have actors like the liar, Bridget Gabriel, who, yes, is from Lebanon, but has 9 different aliases and is paid by the Israeli government to propagate to you. This
is Israel ethnically cleansing Palestinian Christians. As Christian celebrations were muted for the 2nd year in a row in Bethlehem, thousands of Palestinian Christians have left the birthplace of Christianity, once making up 11% of the population of Palestine before the foundation of Israel, to a mere 2% in 2024. The correlation is no coincidence.
If you are not appalled by what is happening in Gaza, if you are not shaken to your core, there is something wrong with your humanity. And if we as Christians are not outraged by the genocide, by the weaponization of the Bible to justify it, there is something wrong with our Christian witness, and we are compromising the credibility of our gospel message.
I know this is a lot for everybody to take in, but there's a lot that you don't know, and you really should. You know, I don't believe that anybody in Canada means to be racist, but I'm watching you guys just fall right into the trap. Right into the trap. And I can't do it. I didn't spend the last 5 years fighting for your life and the lives of our children to just have you guys throw it all away. So, as this is gonna take longer than I thought, please tune in to the next video.
Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the water wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior.
אחד בתוך הספר הזה שהיו מקריאים אותו בבתי הכנסת כחלק מההפטרה, אבל אז הרבנים החליטו להוציא את זה מקריאת ההפטרה. היום זה נחשב הפרק האסור. רוב האנשים לא קראו את הפרק הזה בכלל, כי לא קוראים את זה עוד בבתי הכנסת. הפרק הוא ישעיהו נ"ג, ולמשך 1700 שנים מאז שהוא כתב את זה, כמעט כל הרבנים וחז"ל האמינו שזה פרק שמדבר על המשיח. בעצם גם בתלמוד, בסנהדרין צ"ח, גם ילקוט שמעוני, הזוהר, הרמב"ם, האמינו שהפרק הזה מדבר על המשיח.
בזוי ודחוי על ידי בני אדם, איש שידע כאבים ומחלות, הוא היה כמו אדם שמסתירים ממנו את הפנים, בזוי וחסר ערך בעינינו.
שזה מדבר העניין הזה על המשיח.
דחות. אכן, הוא נשא את המחלות שלנו, סבל את הכאבים שלנו, ואנחנו התייחסנו אליו כמו אל חולה במחלה קשה, שאלוהים גרם לו להיות מושפל ומעונה.
הוא לקח את כל הכאב, את כל הסבל ואת כל המחלות עליו. ובכל זאת, דחו אותו.
הוא עשה לנו טוב ובעצם נתנו לו רע בחזרה.
הוא סובל בגללנו, בגלל כל בעצם העבירות שאנחנו עושים, אז הוא סובל את הכאב הזה.
הוא נתן לנו מעצמו, הוא סבל בשבילנו, הוא לקח את המחלות שלנו, את כל החטאים שלנו.
מאוד סבל.
אז קיצר ישימו אותו על דברים שהוא לא עשה, וקיבל על זה. מעניין.
הוא מת, אבל יש גם את התיאור הזה, לא רק בפסוקים אלה, אבל גם בזכריה, בדניאל, במקומות אחרים, וגם הרבנים העתיקים הבינו שהמשיח אמור לסבול.
אנחנו עבדנו כמו צאן, כל אחד מאיתנו פנה לדרכו, אבל אדוני הטיל עליו את האחריות על החטאים של כולנו.
הבנתי, על פי הפסוקים, כאילו הוא יספוג את החולי והרוע שלנו, וזה ירפא אותנו.
נתן לנו בתנ"ך תיאור מאוד ספציפי של מי המשיח יהיה כדי שנזהה אותו ולא נפספס אותו.
We don't learn to knock in all our schools because it's too deep and we could misinterpret it. This is why I tell you to pay attention.
We learn Tanakh in our schools because it's very deep and things can be misinterpreted. So they don't teach us Tanakh. We learn Talmud, we learn what we call Torah Sheba'al Peh. So if I would want to go into Yeshaya, what you call Isaiah, I would go to my Rebbe and